Golgi body refers to as manufacturing and shipping center of the cell. Golgi body mainly involves in packing of the protein molecules before they send to their destination. Means whatever the proteins is being synthesized in the cell, first of all the packing of proteins takes place by your Golgi bodies. Then that protein is sent to you its destination. These organelles help in processing and packing of macromolecules like protein, like lipid, and are synthesized by cells and hence act at the post office of the cell. This Golgi body is the post office of the cell because it packages the protein molecules and lipid molecules and send this protein and lipid molecule to their destination, right. So, Golgi body was first discovered in year 1898 by Italian biologist Camillo Golgi, and in the honor of him its structure is named as a Golgi bodies. Golgi vessels are often referred to as traffic police of the cell. They play a key role in storing many cell proteins and membrane constituents and in directing them to their proper destination. This is the typical structure of Golgi body. You can see that the Golgi body is made up of different system-like structure. These all structures plays a vital role in packing of protein and fat molecules and sending them to their destination position. Now come to the next slide. Next is your vacuole. Vacuole are large storage house of cell. They are mainly found in plant cell, but it is present in both animal cell and plant cell. Vacuoles might store food and any variety of the nutrients a cell might need to survive. Means these vacuoles plays a storage house of the cell. So it stores whatever the materials is in extra in amount and which is required for the survival of the cell, right. They can even store waste product, so the rest of the cell is protected from contamination. Means this vacuoles also stores the waste materials which are formed during the cellular process, right. Those waste products would be sent out of the cell and finally through vacuoles that waste products is sent to outside to the cell. In plant cell, the vacuoles are much larger than animal cell. When the plant cell stops growing, there is usually one very large vacuoles. Sometimes that vacuoles can take up the more than a half of the cell volume. Means most of the space of the cell is occupied by your vacuoles when the cell become dead. But in the live cell, this vacuoles is small, and in animal cell, these vacuoles might be present in a very small size or absent. The vacuoles hold a large amount of water or food. The vacuoles hold the waste product of plant, right. Those waste products are slowly broken down into the small pieces that so that it could not hurt the cell. So whatever the waste product is formed during the cellular process, that waste product is being stored in the vacuoles, and these vacuoles gradually break down those waste products so that the cells could not be harmed from these waste materials. Come to the next slide. Now come to the very important part of the plant cell, that is plastids. In this cell, plastids are primarily involved in manufacturing and storage of food. They are therefore involved in such process as photosynthesis and synthesis of amino acid and lipid, as well as storage of various material among few others function. Plastids are classified as leucoplast, chromoplast and chloroplast. Plastids play a very vital role in a plant cell. In plastids, the photosynthesis takes place and also the synthesis of protein and synthesis of fat takes place in your plastids. This plastid is of three types. One is your leukocyte, second chromoplast, third chloroplast. Leukocyte is your colorless and have no pigment. Leukocyte do not have any color because it do not have any pigment, and the main function of leucoplast is the storage of a starch. So, the leucoplast mainly involves in the storage of a starch, not in the photosynthesis process. Second, chromoplast. This chromoplast is of various color like yellow, orange and red. It is mostly present in petals of the flower and fruit, but it is also present in calyx, stems, etc. The main function of the chromoplast is the storage of the food, and also it has some coloring pigment like carotene, anthocyanin and xanthophylls. Due to these pigments, this chloroplast gives colors yellow, orange or red. Now, third one is your chloroplast. Chloroplast mainly have a green coloring pigment, that is chlorophyll. This chlorophyll traps the sunlight and facilitates the photolysis of water and helps in the photosynthesis process. So, the chlorophyll which are present in your chloroplast mainly involved in the trapping of sunlight, and this chloroplast also have DNA and have the capacity to replicate. When DNA is present in your chloroplast, right? That's why it have the capacity to divide. Now, come to the next slide. Next is your lysosome. Lysosome is present nearly each and every animal like eukaryotic cells. Lysosome holds enzymes that were created by cell. The purpose of lysosome is to digest things. These lysosomes have various digestive enzymes which have the capacity to digest all the cell. That's why this lysosome is also called suicidal bag of the cell. The lysosome is a specialized vessel that holds variety of enzymes. These enzymes are first created in rough endoplasmic reticulum. Whatever the enzyme present in the lysosome, that enzymes is synthesized on the endoplasmic reticulum. You must know that enzyme is a protein. All enzymes are a form of protein. So, the production of enzymes takes place on your endoplasmic reticulum, and that enzyme then get stored in the lysosome. right? Those proteins are packed in a vessel and sent to the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi then does its final work to create a digestive enzymes and pinch of a small, very specific vessels. That vessels is your lysozyme, right? The lysozyme floats in the cytoplasm until they are needed. Lysozymes are single membrane organelles, right? I just told you that lysozyme have digestive enzymes and have the capacity to digest all the cell organelles. That's why this lysozyme is called suicidal bag of the cell. Now come to the next slide. Next is your centrosome and centrioles. Centrosome is found only in animal cell. Centrosome is not present in your plant cell, and centriole is also not present in your plant cell. So centrosome are the organelles which serve as a main microtubules organizing center for the animal cell while dividing. Centrosome are made up of from arrangement of two barrel shaped cluster of microtubules called centrioles and a complex protein that help additional microtubule to form. These proteins allow the centrosome to start and stop the formation of microtubule protein. This allows them to control the formation of mitotic spindle fiber and other structure that play an important role in cellular development. The production of spindle fiber and microtubules takes place during the cell division. Whenever the cell division starts in a cell, the centrioles forms and come to the terminal of your cell. From there, it produces microtubules, that is spindle fiber, which helps in the separation of chromosome. Centrosome assists with the several important functions like organizing change to shape of the cell membrane that allow membrane to pinch into during cell division. In the cell division, one cell divides into the two daughter cells. So this centrosome play a vital role in the cell division, and it also ensuring that chromosomes are properly distributed to daughter cell by creating and sorting mitotic spindle fiber. When you will see the cell division, you will see that this centrosome helps in the distribution of chromosomes in the two daughter cell which is produced after the cell division. Right? Come to the next slide. Next is your nucleus. Nucleus is the brain of your cell. The cell nucleus is a membrane bonded structure that contains the cell's hereditary information and controls the cell growth and reproduction. The nucleus is made up of nuclear membrane and nucleolus. These nuclear membranes separate the genetic material from the cytoplasm. It is the command center of eukaryotic cell and is commonly the most prominent organelle in the cell, and it accounts about the 10% of the cell volume. Means it covers the 10% of the total cell volume. In general, the eukaryotic cells has only one nucleus. However, in some eukaryotic cells are uninucleated cells like your RBC, means RBC do not have any nucleus, but the some cells are multinucleated, like your in slime mold. Slime mold cells have more than one nucleus. That's why it is called multinucleated. The cell is separated from the rest of the cell, right, through the cell nuclear membrane. At the nucleus regulates the integrity of genes and gene expression. It also refers to as control center of the cell. I just told you the nucleus is the brain of the cell. The nucleus controls all the function taking place inside the cell. The nuclear membrane which separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm is bilayer, and it is also made up of lipoprotein and it is of phospholipid. So whatever the lipid present in your nuclear membrane, that is your phospholipid. This nucleus communicates with the remaining cells through several openings, that is called nucleopore. Means in the nuclear membrane there are several pores are present, that is pores are called nuclear pores, through which this nucleus communicates with the rest of the cell, that is to the cytoplasm. Nuclear pores are the site for the exchange of large molecules, for example RNA and protein, between the nucleus and cytoplasm. You know, the synthesis of protein takes place in your cytoplasm, but some amount of protein is also present inside your nucleus. So from the cytoplasm to the inside the nucleus, the protein enters through this nuclear pore, and during the protein synthesis, whatever the messenger RNA is formed, that messenger RNA come to the cytoplasm through your nuclear pore. Next, nucleolus contained within a nucleus is a dense membrane-less structure composed of RNA and protein called nucleolus. So nucleolus is a dense materials which are present in your nucleus. Come to the next slide. Now let's discuss between the difference between animal cell and plant cell. You know, animal cell is different from the plant cell. So what is the difference between them? Let's discuss. First point, animal cells are generally small in size, but your plant cells are larger than the animal cell, right? Next, your cell wall is absent. In all animal cells, the cell wall is not present. Instead of cell wall, their plasma membrane or cell membrane is present. But in the plant cell, your cell wall is present, and this cell wall is made up of cellulose, and this cell wall is freely permeable to all the particles. But the cell membrane which are present in your animal cell is your selective permeable. Means cell membrane do not allow all the molecules to cross through it, but the cell wall allows all the particles to pass through it. Except the protozoans, Euglena, no animal cell possesses plastid. Euglena is an exception which possesses plastids. Except Euglena, no other animal have plastid. But all plant cells have plastids. We have just seen that inside the plastid, the coloring pigment is present, and that coloring pigment, that is chlorophyll, helps in the formation of photosynthesis, helps in the process of photosynthesis, which results in the production of glucose molecule. So, the chlorophyll traps solar energy which are present in your plastids. So, this plastid is present in your plant cell only, it is not present in your animal cell except euglena. Next, vacuoles in animal cell are many and small. In the animal cell, the vacuole size is very small, but in the plant cells, the vacuoles is prominent. It may occupy most of the cell of plant when the cell is dead, but in the living cell in plant it is also present in a small size, but in the dead cell it occupies most of the space of the cell. Next, animal cell have a single highly complex Golgis. The plant cells have many simpler unit of and prominent Golgi complex apparatus that is called dictosome. Means in plant cell dictosome is present when it is large, but that such dictosome is not present in your animal cell. Next, animal cell have centrosome and centrioles. Such centrosome and centrioles is not present in your plant cell. Now, come to the next slide. Function of cell. Up till now, we were discussing about the different cell organelles and type of the cells and difference between the plant cells and animal cells. But now question arises कि what the cell do. So let's discuss about the function of the cell. The first function of the cell helps in the growth of body. You know, any organism grows up gradually. This growth in the shape and size takes place due to the functioning of cell. Cell divides and increases in number, which results in the growth of the organism. Second, repair of injury. Whenever an organism gets injured, but after some time that injury gets healed. Why does it heal? It is due to the cell activity. Cell starts multiplying at the injury site and heals the injury. Next, movement of body. You know, all living organisms moves, whether it is a plant or animal. So these cells helps in the movement of the body. Without the functioning of the cell, no organisms are able to move their body. Next, protection from various diseases. You know, various cells are present in our body which protect us from various diseases, like your WBC. WBC is called defense cell of your body, which protects your body from the various diseases. When microorganisms enters in your body, the WBC fights with the microorganisms and try to kill that microorganism and keep you safe. So this cells helps you to be safe. Next, blood circulation. You know, your heart is made up of cardiac cells. That cells works together and pump the blood, which causes the circulation of the blood, and with the circulation of the blood, the transportation of different materials takes place. Your transportation of gases, your transportation of food, your transportation of waste materials. Each transportation takes place due to the circulation of blood, and a cell called RBC which are present in your blood, that RBC is responsible for the transportation of oxygen from lungs to the different part of the body, right. So all these cells help in the transportation. Next, absorption of water. In the plant cell, you know that the water gets absorbed from the root, and that water is transported to the tip of the plant through your xylem. So whatever the cell present in the root hairs, that absorb the water and transport it to the other part of the plant. So that cells are responsible for absorption of water. Next is your trapping of light. You know that chloroplast have chlorophyll, and that chloroplast cell traps the sunlight, absorbs the sunlight, and utilize that energy to form your glucose molecule, right, glucose molecule. So some cells are responsible, are involved in the trapping of your sunlight. Next, coloring of flower. Whatever the color you see of a different flower, that color is due to the presence of different coloring pigment. That coloring pigment is present in the cell of that flower, right. Next is your reproduction. Cell also helps in the reproduction to maintain the species on this earth. You know that whatever the cell involved in reproduction, that is your sperm cell or your egg cell, both are the cells. That cells involved in the reproduction process and help the organism to maintain their race on this earth, right. So this is all about the cell and the function of the cell and different cell organelles. Thank you.